friends, also to my many enemies. Once again, this is Roosevelt with another episode of Roosevelt Sounds Off. And on today, which is Sunday, I want to talk about a certain issue that I wanted to talk about. I did the video this past Thursday when it first was trending and first happened. But it's a couple of bullet points I left out in that I want to redo and start over. I want to talk about the whole OJ Simpson thing and the whole OJ Simpson Parole Board hearing. As many of you all know, in case you did miss the news, that OJ Simpson was paroled on this past Thursday, and he'll be free as early as October 1st. And he's 70 years old, and he has just served 9 years out of a 33-year sentence for armed robbery, being involved in an armed robbery where he and several other people participated in an armed robbery trying to steal back some of his sports memorabilia. But before I go on and give you a little bit more of my perspective on it, I'm going to play a little bit of the video or a little bit of the clip of the parole board meeting and hearing, so you all will be able to see. Let me roll the clip and I'll be right back with my commentary.
OJ Simpson, soon to be a free man, sitting before the parole board today as millions watched and studied his walk into that room and his every answer. Simpson had been serving up to a 33-year sentence for that armed robbery in Las Vegas. 4 parole commissioners asking the questions and one by one, then voting to grant parole. The final commissioner right here.
Mr. Simpson, I do vote to grant parole when eligible, and that will conclude this hearing.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as you can see, several thank yous from OJ Simpson sitting at that table. Tonight, as Americans studied his answers, many had wondered how contrite would OJ Simpson be? And some of what he said today did make immediate headlines. ABC senior national correspondent Matt Gutman leading us off from that Nevada prison.
OJ Simpson, now 70, walking into that hearing room, slimmed down, relaxed, and easing into that seat.
And Mr. Simpson, will you please give me your NDOC number for the record?
1027820.
The tension in the room behind that little blue door at the Lovelock prison broke in almost immediately.
That you are currently, very recently turned 90 years old. 90, I'm sorry about that.
I feel like
You look great for 90. How about we take 2 decades off and call you 70?
In answering why he robbed his friend, memorabilia collector Bruce Vermong, and another man in 2007, Simpson seemed to relitigate the 10-year-old crime with a flash of anger.
So you believe that the property was yours?
it's been ruled legally by the state of California that it was my property, and they've given it to me. I have it.
That drunken night earning him an up to 33-year sentence.
I know that alcohol was a factor in the instant offense. Have you addressed this issue as you stated you would?
Well, you know, I think I made it clear back then, I've never had an alcohol problem. I don't think anybody's ever accused me of having an alcohol problem or any kind of substance problem. Of course, on that day, I had drinks on that day, but it was a wedding celebration.
Simpson making a point of saying he took courses in prison called Alternative to Violence.
I've basically spent a conflict-free life. You know, I'm not a guy that ever got into fights on the street and with the public and everybody.
By all accounts, Simpson had been a model inmate here. In fact, the Hall of Fame running back making the case he was one of the best ever prisoners here.
I don't think I could have represented this prison. I don't think any inmate has ever represented it better than I. I did my time. I tried to be helpful to everybody.
Then his eldest daughter, Arnell.
He truly is remorseful, and we just want him to come home so that we can move forward for us, quietly, but to move forward.
Then the first tears from Simpson as his accuser made a plea on his behalf.
This is a good man. He made a mistake. And if he called me tomorrow and said, Bruce, I'm getting out, will you pick me up? Juice, I'll be here tomorrow for you. I mean that,
Simpson in his seat, tears of gratitude. And then the critical question for inmate 102-78-200.
And do you think you can be successful with the terms of parole?
I'm not a guy who lived a criminal life. You know, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I've always tried to be a good soldier.
The result never seemed in doubt, even with the elephant in the room, Simpson's acquittal for the murder of his ex-wife, Nicole.
And lastly, I'd like you to know that we received hundreds of letters of support and opposition. And while we always encourage public input, the majority of the opposition letters are asking us to consider your 1995 acquittal and subsequent civil judgment. However, these items will not be considered in this case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
And his last words, the closest he comes to a full apology.
I'm sorry it happened. I'm sorry to Nevada. I wish Ricio had never called me. I thought I was glad to get my stuff back, but it wasn't worth it. You know, 9 years away from your family is just not worth it, and I'm sorry.
In the end, the decision unanimous, read one by one.
Considering all of these factors, my vote is to grant your parole effective when eligible.
And I concur with Commissioner Korda and grant parole.
I concur with Commissioner Korda and agree to grant parole.
Mr. Simpson, I do vote to grant parole when eligible, and that will conclude this hearing.
Thank you.
Matt Gutman with us live tonight outside the prison. And Matt, you learned what Simpson said in that prison hallway as he was led away?
That's right. As he was being escorted out, that heavy steel door closing behind him, he could be seen clenching his fists in triumph, saying, "Oh, God, oh." Just moments earlier, he had said thank you to his former victim and friend, Bruce Vermont, for so passionately speaking on his behalf, and then mouthed the words, "I'll call you, David."
Matt Gutman leading us off tonight. Matt, thank you.
And there you saw that footage of the parole board meeting, and he was set free, and he has to stay in there, I guess, the rest of August and September, but he'll be as free as soon as October 1st. And even though he's in Nevada, the state of Nevada right now, because he's in a Nevada state prison, he says that he doesn't want to really step foot in Nevada again. So he's trying to get like move to Florida, but they're just waiting on Florida to say yes, whether they would take like a parolee or something from Nevada. But my perspective on it is that I am happy that the juice is finally loose, because he never should have been there, at least never should have been there for this long of a term anyway. I mean, if it had been anybody else, like me or you, who probably committed that armed robbery, then we wouldn't have served as long. Basically, they sentenced him, or the female judge or girl judge, whatever I choose to call her, in his case, sentenced him to 33 years, basically as a payback for the murder that he was acquitted of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, back in 1995. He was acquitted on that murder. And so, you know, it's several people or something, because this is a black man who was accused of killing a white woman. This is something that they want to hold over his head, all because the woman is white. If she had been black, then no one would have ever had anything to say. But I also, one bullet point I left out on like the first video is I wanted to talk a little bit about the mistakes I feel that OJ has made. One of the mistakes, so like the main mistake I think that he has made, is after he, you know, got up, you know, kind of high ranking in the football league, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, and start catering more to white people. After a while, he thought these same white people loved him. But in the end, it was the same white people who wanted to tear him apart because they wanted to accuse him of killing a white woman. It's the same white system that completely tore him apart. After he thought that white people loved him, he found out sooner or later he's just nothing but another nigger. No matter how well he did in football, even if he was a Heisman Trophy winner, even if he, you know, did do some acting jobs and even wrote a book, you know, you still another nigga, no matter how well you do within this country. It almost doesn't matter, almost does not pay to do well in this country, even want to do well, because at the end of the day, you're gonna just be nothing but another nigga. That's how this society and the criminal justice system of this country treats you. They're just so pissed off and so butthurt that he beat a murder rap in 1995 of his ex-wife, who was a white woman, that they had to over-sentence him in this case, which in this case didn't have anything to do with before. I mean, there's certain people even in the Brown and Goldman family who don't want to let this whole thing go, who wanted to bring in certain evidence into this case so they could still keep him locked up. And I'm glad that they said that they weren't going to allow that evidence in this particular trial. I'm glad that they didn't allow that evidence in this particular trial, because these people will simply not let it go. The Goldmans or the Browns will not let it go. I mean, and I don't really believe in my heart and everything, I don't really believe that OJ killed those two people, because, I mean, some of the evidence proves that it would take more than like one person to kill those two people or whatever, or slash those two people or whatever it was, you know, of however it is that they died. They were just concerned is that the victims were white and the so-called perpetrator was black. That's all it was. So I'm glad that the juice is loose. I mean, no matter what happened, the juice is loose. No matter if he did go through a criminal trial, the juice is loose. Even if he did serve 9 years of a 33-year sentence, the juice is finally loose. I feel that it's won for our side, because this criminal justice system, I mean, just like, doesn't give people the opportunity to do anything different. It doesn't give people opportunity to change. It just thinks that you're just going to be the same old kind of person that you are. Golly, I mean, how could you bring evidence from something else into this here? I mean, it reminds me of almost the same kind of a thing that happens to people whenever the police stop you or pull you over. The main thing that they always ask you is, what? Have you ever been arrested before? Sometimes I want to say, idiot, what does this have to do, or even if I was arrested before, what does that have to do with what you're stopping me for, or pulling me over for now, or even arresting me for now? Because the two don't have anything to do with each other. I'm just so glad, and I give glory all day long. The God I serve is nothing like man. The God I serve says that he looks beyond our faults and sees our needs. The God I serve says that he takes all your sins and throws them to the sea of forgetfulness, never to rise against you again in this life or the next. The God I serve says that he will take your sins from you as far as the east is from the west. It is not so with mankind, especially in this country. I think that in this country, that's why we have so many people locked up in this so-called land of the free. It's more people locked up in this country than locked up in any other country on the face of the planet. So if you find a country that has locked up most of its population, like the United States has, I think in the end, there's nothing wrong with the people or the citizens. There's something wrong with the system and with the system of government. And I think it's something that needs to be changed and really, really deeply needs to be addressed. But I'm glad that OJ Simpson is loose. And I'm hoping that he just changes his life and goes and lives out the rest of his life, whatever little or much that, you know, he might have, out in a positive way, and doesn't, you know, get himself in any more trouble. I mean, because even one of my friends, you know, we were talking about it. She said, well, you know, since he beat the murder rap and everything for that white woman, shoot, he should have known that they were watching him. I don't feel sorry for that nigga. That's what she called them. But just because somebody beats like a certain case or had a certain case before does not give any kind of court system the right to hold whatever a person did before, or whatever crime that they were accused of before, and bring it over into a new case. This is not right. 33 years for this so-called armed robbery, and I mean, and he is not even the one who even held the gun. But 33 years for something like that? I mean, come on now. That is just such an overreach. They were doing too much. They're doing too much. This criminal justice system does too much. That's why I'm glad that it's one far side, and that's how come I'm glad the juice is loose. So, OJ, I hope that you go and run on and have much success in the future. With that, that's where I'm going to leave it. If for more, stories or anything else like that, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And hope to see everybody on the next video. Peace and blessings to all.